Welcome to Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. Each week, the NI Bullpen will be covering the world of comics, talking to creators, deep diving into some fantastic stories, and much more. Now let's hand it over to the team and turn a page.
And what is going on, everyone? It is Tuesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and you are tuned in for another edition of Turn a Page.
Is it just a regular edition?
Well, it's a special
I have to interrupt.
edition.
It's a special edition.
It's a special edition.
It's a very special episode.
But you know what? If you're a regular collector of watching the show, it's another issue. But yes, Tom, you are correct. It is a very special edition of Turn a Page, the official comic book club for Nerd Initiative. My name is Ken M. You know me as the host of the ODPH podcast. I'm also Nerd Initiative's comics editor-in-chief. To my left, you're right at home. It's in his contract. He does his own intro.
Coming at you live and direct straight from the ODPH studio. My name is Off the Cuff Tom, Nerd Initiative's pop culture connoisseur. Ken, it is the most wonderful time of the year again. It is time for San Diego Comic-Con, and it is always a pleasure.
Absolutely. As Tom alluded to, this is San Diego Comic-Con week, where pop culture shuts down in California and really deep dives into the worlds of the fandoms that you know and love.
All right, I got to interrupt here. Okay, as someone who's lived in San Diego for 6 years, okay, this is going to shock you. Ken's jaw will hit the table. I have never been to San Diego Comic-Con.
Really?
Okay, very simply, let me explain this. When Ken says that this shuts down San Diego, he is not kidding. The entire Gaslamp district has been completely turned over because North Harbor Drive is just going to be packed full of people. Hotels are already on like this whole little gambling thing. Like, it is ridiculous. Even the little staunch, very white bread hotel I worked out on Shelter Island is now in the whole crew and jackpot of thing that you have to get. And trust me, I remember the first year that we ever had San Diego Comic-Con attendees come down to breakfast and they're in full garb, and every single old Thurston Howe mother we just went, Lovey, what is going on here? I was like, dude, they're my people. Shut up. So he's not kidding. San Diego literally just becomes a madhouse. Fifth Avenue is just packed full of people, and I cannot wait to talk about this, even though I never went.
Well, I mean, obviously, San Diego Comic-Con, like you alluded to, I mean, it shuts everything down, and rightfully so. Ever since 1970, when the first one was in place, it has grown into literally the pop culture epicenter of the summer.
Mm-hmm.
And only New York Comic-Con rivals it, let's be honest. But this is an event that everybody is going to. Everybody is going to have their eyes glued to their watches, their phones, their tablets, whatever you name it. They want to know about the latest and greatest going on in the world of pop culture from San Diego. And we're going to give you tonight the official preview edition, Nerd Initiative style. But before we get into that, we have to say about who's going to be taking it for next week.
Yeah, we're previewing things, right?
We're previewing. But if you want the post recap, finally, after much anticipated wait, Nerd Initiative News is launching. And next week will be the first episode, but we want to make sure that you know about who to follow to get all the news you need to know about movies, TV, comics, and more in the land of pop culture positivity. So we are going to introduce you to the team, and definitely let's go take it away from there.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the very first Nerd Initiative News show. My name is Derek. You may already know me as Nerd Speech on social media, and I'm the producer for the show. I am so excited to finally get this new show off the ground and onto your screens, and our goal is quite simple here. We want to bring you fun, entertaining, and unbiased news from all sorts of different fandoms from across all of pop culture. In today's day, it's way too easy to fall into the rage bait and hate cycles that are way too common online, simply just trying to get the news. Our aim is to cut through all of that noise and serve as an informational jumping off point for constructive, productive, and most importantly, fun discussions. In other words, we're all nerds about something, so let's talk about it. Now, this will be a very quick first episode, since our news today is basically just us introducing ourselves. We want you to know who we are, what we do, and what you can expect from us. Right now, we're a small 3-person team, but we don't expect to stay that way for long. So in the meantime, we're all super pumped to bring you this show weekly, starting with today's quick hello, and then next week, recapping all the news that's bound to come out of San Diego Comic-Con. And before I go and you meet the rest of the team here, I just want to wrap up my portion with a heartfelt thank you to everyone watching right now. The Nerd Initiative audience is one of the most positive and fun groups I've seen online, and I look forward to seeing you weekly and hopefully you watching us back. And now, here's Megan.
My name is Megan from Nerd Initiative, and I will be reporting on Nerd Initiative news, all of the Marvel news, Marvel Comics, Marvel Cinematic Universe, all of it. And you can follow me on Twitter at Megan the Gangsta, and you can follow me on every other social media platform under Vigilante Vibes Podcast.
What's up to all the fans, geeks, and nerds? My name is Mickey, also known as Cell Phone Wallet Keys on social media. And I want to thank the Turn the Page crew for having us here tonight so we could talk a little bit about what we're going to be doing on Nerd Initiative News. And my little section is going to be all about toys and collectibles. I kind of dabble a little bit. I've been collecting action figures since I was like 6-7 years old. I was really into the X-Men Toy Biz line when it first dropped. And I was a huge collector of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles original series and He-Man Masters of the Universe. But it didn't end there. I was into everything. And as you can tell, I didn't grow out of it. So we'll just put a little pin in Nerd Initiative news right now. Come back and see us after the con. And I'm going to kick it back to the Turn a Page guys. But before I do, I just want you to be kind to others and be kind to yourself. Have a great night.
And that's it for our brief introductory show, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. I know there wasn't much actual news this time around, save for the news that we're starting a new show, and you should tune in weekly to watch it. Tune in next week where we will cover all the news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con, and every week after that where we will be covering the weekly nerd news. Have a great day.
Hell yeah.
Yes.
Shout out to Derek, Mickey, and Megan. They're going to be bringing you all the news coming out of San Diego Comic-Con after Sunday, so you definitely want to make sure you're following Nerd Initiative on all social media platforms, and don't miss what they're going to be bringing, because trust me, they're going to be bringing you the best of the best news articles, and I am super excited that we are finally launching it here on the channel. We couldn't have a better team to kick everything off, and obviously covering San Diego is a big task, but they have this all handled and then some.
And then some.
Mm-hmm.
Did you also know I'm also going to be a very special correspondent on there on a need-to-know basis?
I just found out now. So that being said, let's get into the show. We're going to be talking San Diego Comic-Con all night long here. So chat, super chat, wherever you are, we need you to do one quick thing before we get rolling. And that is a homework assignment. We like to say, if you're watching us anywhere other than YouTube, make sure you go over to YouTube, hit that subscribe button, tap that bell notification to let our boss, Michael, know that you love what you're seeing and that you don't miss anything going on with the big thumbs up. It's a big process right here, but it's one that you don't want to miss because there's exclusive stuff that's coming only to YouTube. So you want to make sure you hit that subscribe button, tell a friend, and keep the ball rolling and keep growing those numbers because we have a lot of things coming, much like the news team is going to be talking about. But let us kick off this episode talking San Diego Comic-Con. Chat, super chat, what are you looking forward to tonight? And obviously, Tom, what's the first thing you're talking about concerning San Diego?
Collectibles.
Okay.
I want to talk about things that you're going to get at the con, or you're going to order through the con, or you're going to get at a retailer with the con. There are so many things that always come out every single year from San Diego Comic-Con, and particularly, we always know that the Funkos are going to go crazy.
Mm-hmm.
There are retailer exclusives that are going on, and I don't know if anybody's been to a big convention recently when Funko has 1/3 of the convention floor just to themselves, and they put on a phenomenal show. But they have some fantastic figures that people are going to line up for hours to get. There's going to be a jumbo-sized Voltron, because I love my Megazords. There's going to be Arceus, a jumbo-sized Arceus for the Pokemon collectors. Anybody who's a fan of X-Men 97 like Megan, I know she is definitely going to want to get somebody to get in line to get that exclusive limited edition Mr. Sinister Pop.
Ooh.
Yes. There are the Funko bobbleheads from Star Wars of Thrawn and Darth Vader. For those of you who are a fan of the Wednesday series, I know there's also this really nice big movie scene scene of Wednesday, and I cannot remember the roommate in front of their big, huge stained glass window. there are so many things that are going on with Funko. The other exclusives that are coming, let's see, like Hot Topic always gets some, Barnes and Nobles gets some. Let's see, I'm looking here. Zero is also going to be getting a summer version from Nightmare Before Christmas. Frustrated Elmo, there's Honey Smacks, there's Dig'em from Honey Smacks, so if anybody collects the food ones. And I think our guy in the chair likes Godzilla just a bit.
That's what we hear.
I hear that. I know Toho is doing one with that. Snoopy, anybody who's a fan of the Peanuts, is also going on right there. Now, talking about the retailer exclusives, okay? Target is getting Papa Smurf with a book. Spider Boy, the new figure.
Okay.
Harry Potter shooting off his Patronus. Stranger Things is getting one. Walgreens is getting the Wicked Witch with a mini of the Flying Monkeys. Toy Tokyo is getting Marvin the Martian, but unfortunately he does not have the Uranium Q-37. And then at the show exclusive, Freddy Funko is going to be getting a few. There's going to be a Diamond Edition Thrawn. There's an oversized patched up Baymax. But the one that I am looking forward to the absolute most is Hot Topic is going to have the Flame Wingman GX. Now, everybody's kind of on ever since the original Yu-Gi-Oh series, all the new interpretations have kind of been maybe yes, no. I absolutely love GX, and it's a shame that we never got the final season, but that was weird having to translate it to American audiences. So right there, that is my big one. I got a guy who works at Hot Topic, and they already know. I better get it.
Yeah, that's going to be a monster collection. I mean, you think about everything going on with that, and really, it's such a vital part of con too, because everybody always thinks the cosplay, everybody always thinks the comics and the media projects, but the collectibles are one things that really drive people to go to the shows, and it's something to celebrate too, because toy collecting and action figure collecting and Funko collecting is a very, very big part of pop culture and a big part of fandom too, because you just see how everything kind of spirals into that.
Have you ever looked at my background when I do my videos?
Oh, yes.
I collect all the things.
Yes.
Now, speaking of collecting things, a lot of my stuff comes from Hasbro, till all are one. Big things that are coming out from Hasbro. I know that the Marvel Legends line is doing Death's Head. Now, those of you who are Marvel fans and also Transformers fans, Death's Head is a very interesting character over his whole career that he's been in Transformers and Marvel media. So to finally get a figure that is a show exclusive is a shame that it's going to be show exclusive. I wouldn't be surprised if down the road later, Marvel's going to put out a scaled back version, because usually when we get to conventions, we usually get a special edition version. Years ago in the Lightning collection, we had the Jason 2-pack, which was the only time you got the Jason Gold Ranger figure with the proper Gold Ranger staff. And let me tell you, the 3D printing community has gone wild in having to remake it for your proper figure when you do get the Butterscotch Ranger at the stores. Also coming from Hasbro is they're doing a gorgeous Episode 1 Darth Maul on his speeder with the double-bladed lightsaber. So we know Padawan J is going to be probably, salivating to get that one.
Yeah.
So, but there's so much other stuff coming out. There's Ken's Dream House. There is, you're a Batman fan, right? Did you know that there's going to be from McFarlane Toys, Old Bruce and Ace from Batman Beyond figures?
I do now.
You do now. So let me tell you, there's going to be so much stuff going on here. You better have a guy. And if you don't have a guy to go get that Jeff the Landshark plush, you need a guy, because that's the only thing I want. I mean, Super 7 does have the Mikey Pizza Wagon, which I think is a fun play, but okay, I'll just rather have the Turtle Van any single day. Jimmy Buffett has a figure coming out from Jurassic World in cooperation with Mattel from, when he was getting attacked walking away from Margaritaville. Yeah, there's all kinds of stuff. And that's the beauty of Comic-Con. It's when you can finally put out those figures or the variants or the exclusives that just take the regular figure and just put it on into his Mezco. I know has that beautiful Snake Eyes is coming out. And if you haven't gotten on the Mezco line, they are phenomenal figures. I know that there's Ranger figures out there. We're just putting it out there. But now to go into the whole G.I. Joe figures, like they have cloth applications for all their clothes. Everything is intimately. And I don't say that's why we do it live.
Well, I'm interacting with the chat here.
We like the chat.
Yes.
But Mezco makes such beautiful figures, and they're so intimately done because you really want to pay attention to all the details. I don't know. I mean, just even in the Batman Beyond style for McFarlane toys. Look at this, Ken. Just look at that. Look at Ace. I love Ace. He's been such a good boy.
No, it definitely does look good, and that's the whole thing too. You get to go to con, and you're going to see so much different, so much different collectibles. That's just one part of the fandom. And now, but obviously, with comics in the name, everybody wants to go hear some comics.
Okay, sure.
Oh, absolutely.
It's shut up and take my money time.
Oh, well, like I say, it's going to be one of those moments too where you literally are going to jump in and you're going to hear about all the great books that are coming out. Going to meet a lot of the creators that are behind it and really have that one-on-one experience that you can't really describe. There's so many memories I have from going just to New York and let alone going to San Diego, where everybody's coming out with a lot of big news and there's so many panels dropping. I mean, with so many surprise guests and information, it's going to be really, hard to choose which ones to go to. So I've put together a little list of which ones I think you definitely need to go hit. So let's start off on Thursday with a book that is coming out tomorrow as we're recording from our good friends over at Dark Horse Comics.
Yes.
So Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Pacific time. All this time is Pacific time, and you can get all the information at comic-con.org is going to be the Minor Threats panel. So, Tom, have you been reading this series?
I have skimmed over it. I've only watched really a lot of the stuff that our friends from Hops Geeks have been doing from it. I've watched the fantastic Patton Oswalt interview that we had here on the channel. I have not. It is in my list. It is on my to-do, but have I gotten a chance to? No.
You definitely need to catch up on that because they're expanding that universe very much so. And reading from the press release from Dark Horse about it, come be a bar, quote, fly on the wall for discussion of Minor Threats creators Patton Oswalt, Jordan Bloom, Scott Hepburn, Kyle Starks, and Ryan Brown. So they discuss the C-list villains and hench people that populate the world of Minor Threats, taking a trip to the lower layer in the newest series, Minor Threats Barfly. So there are some other special guests that are going to be coming through. So this is one, if you haven't picked up the series, it is really phenomenal. Like I say, what Jordan and Patton and Scott are doing with this is really great. And to see it now expanding out with Kyle and Ryan taking over, a C-list character and really running with it.
Mm-hmm.
There is just such a unique creative style with this that honestly, you really can appreciate it and seeing their take and just really flipping, the proverbial norm on those C and D list villains and really making it into something special. Like that is why this universe is taken off. And I'm expecting to hear about more spinoffs coming, which is never a bad thing because if you haven't read it, like I said, the Alternates and Barfly, those are great. And then obviously the Minor Threats Fastest Way Down #4 comes out tomorrow at the comic shops. Chat, super chat. If you've been reading this, definitely let me know who your favorite character is in this universe as well. Dark Horse has a loaded lineup of panels too. I know the Goon is a classic indie character. There's a panel coming out at 1:00 about him. Them that won't stay dead. 25 years of the Goon, which I know our own Mickey from NI News and Play for Keeps has reviewed a couple times. They got a Star Wars panel coming out later that day. Like I say, they're just loaded throughout the weekend too. And I know that they just made an announcement too about Josh Gad, who's coming. He just has a book out called The Writer. So Friday, there's some stuff going on with him as well, with his own panel for that. So Dark Horse is really crushing it right now. Can't recommend enough Paranoid Gardens too from Gerard Way that came out last week. They are going to be
what a wonderful review you did of that too.
Oh, thank you very much. but honestly, Dark Horse has done independent comics for so long. Like they sent the benchmark and really kicking off things on Thursday. Like this is the pace car for the rest of the weekend. Con goers are in for a real treat.
Yes.
Next up on our to-do list, we're going to go to some friends that Rich and myself know rather well. And that's our friends from Masked Republic. Now, they just kicked off with massive publishing about the Luchaverse. So the Luchaverse Catalyst #1 came out last week, and they are going to be having a panel with Headlock Comics. And really, they're going to be having some special guests coming through. Denise Salcedo is going to be hosting. Kevin Kleinrock, who we've had on the show, is going to be there, along with Shelton Benjamin and Danhausen.
Wow.
So that is going to be some fun for wrestling fans and kind of talking about wrestling and comics. And obviously, that's going to be a crazy panel to go to. So if you are not making plans to go check that out, make sure you add that into your list. They also have some news coming out involving the Luchaverse, and there was a little teaser I threw up there of a certain comic that is coming out that's going to have a little announcement for Massive Publishing. So definitely want to make sure you're checking out for that and for more pro wrestling. Obviously, Wrestling Night Live, but this week is on a special night, Wednesday, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So you definitely want to make sure you're locked in for the latest and greatest in pro wrestling. And to see how it's interacting with comics, I mean, we've touched upon this before. There is a very unique synergy that happens with pro wrestling and comics. There's a lot of similar themes to a certain degree, and it's one that resonates to all fans. And this goes to show, too, with cons, it's not just for the comic fans. It's not just for the movie fans. It covers all wide varieties of fandom. Would you agree?
Does. Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's accessible to everybody. It doesn't matter who your superhero is. The wonderful thing is that it's all encompassing. It really is, and this is why I love what I do. Speaking of wrestling, Ronda Rousey is going to be having a book coming out too.
Yes, she has a panel with AWA Comics. I believe it's Thursday as well.
Yep, I believe WWE superstar Dave Bautista is going to be there as well. I don't know if you'll be to see him. He moves really, really slow.
Well, I know that she has a Kickstarter coming out. Expecting the Unexpected, I believe, is the name of the title.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one that's making a lot of noise right now. So to see Dave Bautista also moderating the panel, that's going to be cool. Obviously, everybody knows him in the pop culture world as Drax. We know him as one of the members of Evolution, amongst other title reigns he's had in WWE. But this goes to show, like I say, the synergy that goes on between pro wrestling and comics. I know there's an AEW panel that's also going to be taking place later that day as well. So there is a lot for fans to get into and really find your fandom. And that's the beauty of con too. You're going to meet a lot of fellow fans of different genres and can really have those discussions and really deep dive into things.
I'll tell you a funny story. Years ago when I was doing New York with another group, I was fortunate enough to meet a gentleman who's also another journalist. And he and I are still buddies to this day. And dude lives in England.
Wow.
Yeah. Actually, you follow him on Twitter too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, we follow a lot of people.
We do, but yeah, he puts out some phenomenal stuff. So Neil, hi, nice to see you.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but that goes to show, like, you never know who you're going to meet. Like, we have one of the greatest stories of the ODPH with how we met our freelance assistant, Dre Driven. So, like I say, it's just meeting everybody at the cons and having that interaction. Chat, super chat. If you've ever met somebody at the con that you're still talking to this day, throw a number 1 up in the chat. We'll do it for that.
Right there. There's my number 1. We met at a con.
This is true.
This is true.
This is very true.
And the rest was history.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of history, there is one comic line that I always say is comics' most exciting line of books.
Power Rangers.
No, that's not it. I mean, it is an exciting line, and they do have some things going on. But no, this is one that is going to have especially a big day at the comic shops tomorrow.
Yes, it is. It's going to be massive.
And it's the Massiverse.
Boom.
So shout out to all our friends over at Black Market Narrative.
Yay.
So they have a very big panel that is going to be taking place Friday morning, 11:15 a.m. And this is one that last year there was a lot of news getting broke. I know the card game, which I believe they're going to be doing some demonstrations Wednesday night for con, is going to be taking place. They announced that last year. Supermassive 2024 is dropping tomorrow. We'll have to see if they decide to unveil if they're going to do 2025. But you're going to hear a lot of things happening, especially coming out of what has been a very, very massive event, no pun intended.
It's the catalyst to everything.
It is. And reading the press release that we were sent over from Image Comics, join Massiverse superstars Kyle Higgins, Brian Buccellato, Melissa Flores, Ryan Parrott, and more special guests as the crew unveils exciting new developments and announcements in store for the Massiverse this year and next.
I love more special guests. The rest of them are also great.
Yeah, well, like I say, they have a lot going on. And if you've been reading the Catalyst War, you know that we always kind of say in comics, like, there's game-changing moments. Like, stat quo is forever changed. This is an event that is going to do that.
Yes.
And to see the creativity that they've gone with this, it's truly been a wild ride to see. And honestly, I don't know how this is going to end. I've speculated with a lot of the fans in the Radiant Black Discord.
And that's a first.
Yeah. I have like 4 different theories of how it's going to play out, but that's something that with Kyle's writing and the team's working on both books. And I didn't misstep when I said that. Both books have really told this amazing story that now that we're entering into the final chapters, all bets are off. And if you've been a fan of this, and let's face it, Radiant Black is arguably the best modern superhero comic out there.
Agreed.
A lot of interested parties are going to be checking this out, and especially seeing a couple of the names up there. I know Brian is just wrapping up No One, with Kyle and Geraldo Borges, whose artwork is amazing.
He's biased.
I am, because when you're that good, I have to give you your praise. And with the book coming out tomorrow, because No One number 10 is dropping tomorrow as well, I'm expecting we're going to hear some noise about that per se. Like, obviously, they're going to probably be reflecting about what they did, because doing a multimedia event with a companion podcast with Patton Oswalt and Rachel Lee Cook to go along with the story, I mean, it's forward thinking that only the Massiveverse and Black Market narrative do.
And we tried to do this as a triple threat tomorrow, as a matter of fact. So make sure you come back to check out our review. 3 of us are giving us our opinions on Supermassive 24. I'm not going to say who, but, just in case.
Well, if you know Nerd Initiative and you know the Bullpen well, you know who the third member is going to be, because there was no way that he was going to be missing this. But like we say, the Massiveverse panel, like, they drop news, they drop big news. So I'm expecting to hear a lot more about this moving forward and to see how things are going to play out after this. I mean, seeing the creators up there, I've got some speculation, but I'm going to wait till after the panel and then can deep dive into it on social media.
I can't wait to look at our Discords this weekend.
Oh, yeah. It's going to get so lit up. It's going to be amazing. So that being said, on to the next panel. And that is from our friends over at Boom Studios. And Boom has a 5-year anniversary to celebrate. Can you believe it's been 5 years of the Slaughterverse? Now, if anybody is not up to date with Something is Killing the Children, it's arguably one of the best books, period, of any time period. But it's every time you pick up this issue, you're going to be blown away. I think James Tynion does slow burn drama better than anybody. And to see that we've now gone to 5 years about this, and knowing that there is live action coming.
Yes.
So giving you that little tip off in case anybody didn't realize, it was announced pre-pandemic that they were working on a deal to go to Netflix. I believe, fingers crossed, we're going to hear an update about that. But according to the press release, in 2019, Erica Slaughter introduced readers to the secret world of monsters and the ones who hunt them. In 2021, the doors to the House of Slaughter were open, expanding Erica's world into a storytelling universe. This year joins the creative team for a 5-year anniversary retrospective on this blockbuster horror epic, as well as exclusive peek at the future of Something is Killing the Children.
Let's not forget, we also did a fantastic episode reviewing Something is Killing the Children here on Nerd Initiative's Turn Page. So make sure you go back and check that out. And I can tell you, that was the first time I ever picked up the book. And trust me, I was hooked. It is a phenomenal series. He's not just, up playing it. It's that good.
Yeah, no, it truly is. And like I say, my fingers are crossed. I haven't heard anything about the live action in a while. I'm really, really hoping to hear that it's still on. But either way, I'm excited to hear about the future of this book, because they just wrapped up one of their most amazing crossovers. The past couple issues have been one-shots going into the past of Erica. And I know our friend Megan in the chat from Vigilante Vibes and Nerd Initiative News has a review coming out tomorrow for the next issue of Something is Killing the Children. So definitely stay tuned for that. And if you've been reading this book, I want to know who your favorite character is. Let's get that chat really going tonight. I want to see a lot of names getting thrown in there. But also, speaking of Boom, on the same day, I know, Tom, we weren't going to escape about talking about this. Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Across the Morphin Grid, 5:30 p.m. on Friday. So, quote from Boom Studios, after 8 years and over 120 issues, Boom Studios' Power Rangers universe is coming to an end, but now without a few surprises. Join Melissa Flores, writer of the climactic Darkest Hour event, along with the iconic Ryan Parrott, Bryce Carlson, and the original Pink Ranger, Amy Jo Johnson, and the original Black Ranger, Walter Jones, for behind-the-scene peeks at the final issues of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers and an exclusive look at what's next. What is your reaction to this?
It's about time. Okay. Do not get me wrong. I love Power Rangers and I love everything that Boom has done in Power Rangers. At this point where they are at, I've said it before, I don't know where else they can go after this. So the idea of cutting ties with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers mainline that Melissa has done a phenomenal job with, taking over the mantle from Ryan, who took it over from Kyle, who also, shared it with Matt and everybody there. The idea that we're going to go through the multiverse and we're going to have things like the Mighty Morphin Paladin Rangers, or the Paladin Rangers Force, or whatever it's called. It's so smart. At this point, they've kind of morphed themselves into a corner. So to open up the broader range of Power Ranger-dom, as it is. We've seen the first look into it with Mighty Morphin Power Rangers: The Return by Amy Jo Johnson. As a matter of fact, Walter is going to be writing his own series as well for Power Rangers. Yeah, if you check one of the earlier press releases, even David Yost is going to be writing a book, and I think it gives it a very unique perspective having the people that have worn the spandex and have know their characters to see where they want to develop their stories too. I gotta give Boom some credit. My biggest thing is that I think this is the only place right now where Power Rangers is going to live for the foreseeable future. I honestly think Hasbro doesn't know what they're doing. I'm going to soapbox here for a second. I
The
honestly
thought, views, and opinions of that of Tom are not reflective of Nerd Initiative. Viewer discretion is advised.
Thank you. I don't believe Hasbro really knows what they're doing with the franchise right now. Between we're gonna have this over to Playmates and we're not gonna handle the toys anymore. We don't know what the heck is going on with the TV. You can't get a straight answer from Entwistle. So keeping the franchise alive in comic form is probably their best bet till they figure out what the hell they're doing.
Well, I think this just now is in a transition period. So I think for you being such a devoted Rangers fan, I can understand the trepidation. But we'll just have to wait to see how it plays out. But that's the beauty of going and hearing about a panel like this.
Yes.
You're going to get some information. Are you going to get everything you're looking for?
No.
No, but you're going to get some new information that might put your fandom at ease, so to speak. So that's the best thing you can do with a con, is go and definitely hit up a lot of panels along with going to Artist Alley and talking to the creators. Like I say, sparking those conversations can only help grow in the fandom. And especially you see how it's made an effect on you with Power Rangers.
If it wasn't for Power Rangers, I wouldn't be doing this today.
Yeah. So,
plain and simple.
Something to keep in mind. But next up on the list is one that, listen, I'm just going to say I've gone to this in New York, and it is no joke.
Nope.
So the fact that San Diego, you have this coming your way, I would really make a point to get down there if you can, because it's big.
Huge.
It's a really big thing.
Massive.
It's
not Massiverse.
No, it's Marvel's next big thing. Friday night, 4 p.m. or 4:15 rather, Pacific time. And if you haven't gone to one of these events, Marvel really shows up for this, really shows out. And to read the press release from Marvel, this is it, True Believers. The one, or I'm sorry. Yeah, no, I was right. The one you've been waiting for, editor C.B. Cebulski and Agent M and other guests are going to be giving you a glimpse into the future of your favorite heroes. So the world is shaking, ramifications emulating from Blood Hunt for the will last for years to come, and fans can look no further than this panel for exclusive glimpse at the new stat quo in the wake of the bloodiest Marvel event ever. And also stay till the end of the panel. Marvel is very generous about the giveaways they do at the end, and they are saying that they're going to be doing one for this. So chat, super chat, have you been reading Blood Hunt? Has it lived up to expectations? I will tell you personally, it has. And it literally is one of the bloodiest things you're going to see from Marvel. And I'm expecting something kind of game-changing to come from here. I don't think they really teased too much that they haven't delivered on. But I'm very curious about this. Yes.
With Blood Hunt, do you think that this is do you think that Marvel is using this as a soft reboot?
No.
No, is this just going to turn the world on, turn everything on its ear?
No, I think in my unofficial opinion, I think if I have to guess at what's going to happen, I think a couple heroes are going to be changed forever. And well, I mean, for a while, I should say, because I don't like to say forever in comics because
it's Marvel.
Unless it's Ben Parker, I mean, nothing is forever. So that being said, I do think you are going to see some really serious changes to a couple of heroes. And I think they've already alluded to one. If you've been reading the series now, how long that's going to last, I'm not sure. But if you read the cover for issue 2, you kind of have an idea what I'm thinking. After that, I think all bets are off. But the fact that they've done this and it's really felt like a big event, no matter what spinoff you picked in, because sometimes you can go pick up a major event and sometimes the spinoffs maybe don't hit as much. Everyone I've read, I've really enjoyed. And I think this has really added something to the story involving the characters. So to see what they're going to do here, if they're talking big, I fully think so. And we're going to get an idea of where they're going to be leading into, because I know in New York, when they do next big thing there, I'm expecting to hear some monster news. No innuendo there. I'm just expecting to hear some really game changer stuff, because last year that's where we heard about the end of the X-Men line and the Krakoan era. So now to see where they're going, like I say, this is an event. If you're a Marvel fan, you need to be in the building for.
Yes.
And then next on my list, it's hard to believe.
Is it?
Oh yeah, we're 1 year into Distillery.
No.
Uh-huh. It's crazy to think about, but the imprint has now been around for 1 year. And if you haven't checked out Distillery, they do some amazing work. And they have a top-notch lineup of creators there. And to see what they're going to be rolling out, or what they have rolled out, I should say, rather, is very, very good. Like I say, I don't think I picked up a book and just haven't been like impressed with the creativity and kind of the directions they've ran with. I know Gone by Jacques, I really love, and I know the Scott Snyder and Francesco Francavilla just rolled out White Boat. I'm really into that, and obviously Spectrograph. Like I could keep going on and on about how much I love this line, but they do have a couple panels coming out, and that's why I kind of grouped them together. So Thursday, 2 p.m. from Comixology to Distillery and Beyond, Chip Mosier and David Steinberg one-on-one. So to read the press release that they gave us, he has sold more comics than anyone in the history of the industry. Now he has co-founded Distillery, a comics and collectibles company with his longtime partner in crime and co-founder Chip Mosier. Join a no-holds-barred conversation with David Steinberg, former CEO of Comixology and head of comics worldwide at Amazon, who is now the CEO at Distillery. Hosted by Chip, the person that knows David best, this panel promises to reveal the secrets, successes, and failures of the past 15 years in digital comics and explains why Distillery is poised to take comics to the next level. Digital comics is a big part of the industry.
Yeah.
And obviously, Comixology was really the one that was the pace setter there. It was the one that really gravitated towards. And to hear how the story is going to go from now to Distillery, I think this is very fascinating. And I think that if you are into the industry and the behind the scenes of stuff, this is going to be one I would have locked and loaded for, and I would make sure I do not miss, because you're going to hear a lot of stuff that, I mean, to think about the future of digital comics, I think you're going to hear a lot, especially with how Distillery does it. And I love how they do it thus far. Like I say, I've dabbled a little bit. I try going to my LCS first, but if I need to, I go digitally. I like everything that I've seen from them, what they've done with like digital ash cans and such. I think that they're really a step ahead about things. So this is going to be one, if you're into digital comics, I think you want to go check out. And then to piggyback off it, Friday, 2:30 p.m., they're going to be having their What's Next. So this is almost going to be like their next big thing.
Yep.
So, and to read the press release, Distillery launched last year in a few short months, gained such accolades as Publisher of the Year from the Comics Beat with steamy horror breakouts Somna, lauded as the best comic of 2023 with a single issue out by Newsarama, witnessed the next phase of the most daring line in progressive storytelling as Distillery offers a crystal ball session previewing its upcoming work and just maybe announces a few projects to set and dominate the headlines of 2025. So if you want to know what's going on there, I think that this is going to be one that you want to be in attendance for. I've heard a couple rumors, but obviously this is one that's going to confirm and really kind of get some balls rolling about what's going to happen next. So I am super excited to hear about the news coming out of this. I really love the stuff that Distillery does. And if you're into like that old school DC Vertigo line, ooh, I think this reminds me a lot of that. And I think that we need more of that in comics.
Great analogy. Great.
Well, to be honest, though, that's the truth. Because to think about what Vertigo did at the time, and that was groundbreaking.
Way ahead of its time.
To see that Distillery has taken that and really picked up the torch and gone their own direction. And it's not the same, but there are similar vibes I pick up when I pick up a Distillery book. And that is probably one of the highest compliments I could give, because Vertigo was incredible when it was running. And to see now that we have Distillery, that gives an option for more mature stories, really groundbreaking creativity, and really allows creators to let loose in whatever direction they want to go. And I always think that that is a beautiful thing.
So, I like it when he talks like that.
Well, like I say, when I get amped up about my books, I get amped up about my books.
Do.
So that being said, next up on the list, I mean, you want to hear me go off? I'm going to go off. Skybound Entertainment.
Till all are one.
The Transformers and G.I. Joe Energon universe is here Friday night at 4:30 p.m.
Cannot wait.
If you have not been picking up this universe,
what the hell is wrong with you?
like, listen, I'm going to be very honest. I don't know how you can be skipping out on this. Everything that they have done with this universe has been on point, because to revitalize two major pop culture fandoms in G.I. Joe and Transformers, slide them in a shared universe, which is crazy to think that this is also a year old.
And the thing, we've had Transformers and Joe's team up in the past.
Sure.
And they've just been just plain old team ups. But to really intertwine them, that's smart writing. That is brave. That is bold. That is reaching for the sky.
It definitely is. And to see that this really just came out of one page from Void Rivals. And everybody went, what?
Yeah, right.
And to see how it spiraled into arguably the best comic at the shops each week, which is Transformers by Daniel Warren Johnson. And to see how it spawned into the building of the G.I. Joe universe with all the spinoffs we've had. Like, this is going to be one that I'm super excited to check out. I had the pleasure of going to the one in New York. That had a lot of information. I'm expecting a lot more here, and reading the press release from Image Comics and Skybound. Welcome to the hottest comics in the world. The Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Void Rivals from Skybound have taken over the comic shop world, and we have top secret reveals you can't miss. Superstars Robert Kirkman, Daniel Warren Johnson, Joshua Williamson, Tom Riley, and Sean Makowitz deliver the panel that everybody will be talking about.
Agreed.
When they say everybody's going to be talking about it,
we'll be talking about it.
Everybody's going to be talking about it. So this is one you don't want to miss. And like I say, if you haven't checked out this universe, make a point to, because it's only going to get bigger and better as 2024 rolls on into 2025. Guaranteed.
Yep.
So super chat. In fact, I'll even kind of throw this in there. Who is your favorite Transformer? Let's throw that in there.
I have very odd ones.
I'm not surprised.
Sea Spray and Astro.
I can see it.
Like they were some of my favorite figures as a kid, because my parents would never buy the big ones.
Mm-hmm.
So, with Takara Tomy always, making the smaller line, those are the ones I primarily got. And then finally, Sea Spray and Astro are two of my favorite Transformers of all time. Don't get me wrong. I love the big characters. I love Bulkhead and Wheeljack and whatnot. But if you want to throw me back to being a child, Astro and Sea Spray.
Yeah. So that being said, I mean, for me, I'm an optimist. That's always been my number one. So, and like I say, the what's going on now, I mean, it just takes me back.
Now, don't forget also, with everything going on, they are going to be doing a Transformer 1 panel as well.
Yes.
So
Make
sure we check that out. That's on Thursday, I believe it is.
Yes, I believe that kicks off Hall H.
Yes, it does.
So we'll get into that in just a little bit, because there's so much comic stuff we have to go over first.
More comics.
Well, you can never have enough comics.
No.
And then next up, I mean, this is one I've been raving about for quite some time. I know Megan, who's in the chat, she's been raving about this as well. Marvel Comics X-Men from the Ashes. So this is the start of the new era of X-Men comic books. It's perfect timing for what is going on in Deadpool and Wolverine, which is going to be dropping at theaters this week. Avoid spoilers on social media. I recommend it right now. A lot of stuff is kind of getting rumored and innuendo, so just go and, unsurprised. But to see what they've done with this, obviously X-Men #1 by Jed MacKay and Ryan Stegman was a great read. We've been rolling out spin-off books, and to hear about what we have coming out, like, I am super excited to check this out. From the press release at Marvel, from the Ashes, a new beginning. The Krakoan age has come to an end, and the X-Men are entering a bold era of storytelling that they find themselves once more navigating through a world that hates and fears them. So join editor-in-chief C.B. Sobalski, executive editor extraordinaire Tom Brevoort, more mutant masterminds including Gail Simone, Colin Kelly, Jackson Lansing, Mark Russell, and Declan Shelby, as in this uncanny panel featuring behind-the-scenes reveals and thrilling announcements. And also make sure to stay to the end for a giveaway.
It's X-Men. I mean, we knew what was coming with the 3 different covers coming out with 3 different lines. And with everything going on in the Marvel Universe, this is going to be a big thing. Like, X marks the spots. You better be there Saturday at 3 p.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, this is going to be a huge panel. And especially that the books are now just rolling out. We did get an early news article about that there is a Psylocke series that's going to be a little more in-depthly announced. Now, I don't know anything more than the press release that we have posted up, because that's all Marvel sent. So I don't know anything more about that. Feel free to speculate in the chat. But this is going to be one, like I say, the X-Men line is on fire right now. Ever since X-Men 97, which I believe there's a panel there as well, too. that we'll have to kind of keep an eye out for as well. But right now, the X-Men have not been this popular in years, and right now coming back into full pop culture takeover mode with the movie coming out, and obviously the X-Men line is really exploding right now heading into the rest of 2024. It's such a great time to be a fan of that line. And honestly, I mean, that kind of sums up what I had listed for comics. I know that there's a couple tie-ins with some of the other big events going on, but Tom, hearing that, like, what do you think jumps out to you the most?
Everything. I mean, it's San Diego. I mean, I'm literally going to be sitting on the edge of my phone, going, okay, what's coming out? What's coming out? And, it's between either my buddies who are going to be there or, when we get that last second press release right when they announce it, like we're literally just going to be a buzz and a gawk with everything that is going on. There is so much news to come out, so much in the land of pop culture, just in comic books alone, that's coming out at San Diego. That's why it's one of the two biggest conventions of comicdom.
Mm-hmm.
San Diego sets it up. New York usually knocks them down, because that's the way I look at it. Sometimes they'll set something up at San Diego and say, stay tuned for New York. And then we find out in New York, or sometimes rarely we'll get it at Emerald City. So Seattle, I always say, is on my top 5.
Oh yeah. I mean, C2E2 has to be in that equation too.
Yep.
MegaCon, like there's a lot of great cons, and I don't want to take anything away from
No, not at all.
But San Diego is the one that really benchmarks a lot because pop culture tunes in because it's focused heavily on movies and TV.
Mhm.
Like, let's be honest.
Nowadays, yeah.
Nowadays, that's where the general driver is. If you go to New York, it's more comics and it's not so much movies. TV is a fair share in there, but it's pretty much heavily driven by the comics and surrounding fandoms. So, like I say, it's a perfect, blend of like what you're looking for. But you're going to find everything when you go there. But when we talk about San Diego, I mean, that's the first thing that comes to mind is you talk Hall H. There's a lot of big moments happening there. So let us kind of transition into the movies and TV portion there. And the one I know that you just got done recapping on TV Talk, and there is a big panel taken on involving the Doctor.
Yes.
Into the Whoverse, a Doctor Who panel.
Yes, the Doctor Who panel is coming up. It's about the Doctor Who podcast. I think it's the one we're talking about specifically.
Friday, 12:30 p.m. in Hall H.
Oh, I'm looking at the wrong one because there's another one with the Doctor Who podcast as well.
No, this is the one they're going to be having people from the show on, and they're going to be talking kind of retrospect about the season that was and give it a little hints about what to look forward to in the future. So
why am I looking at the wrong? Yay, this is why we do it live, ladies and gentlemen.
No worries. But this is another situation where when it's a big fandom like Doctor Who, you're going to have a lot of Whovians turn out.
Yeah, and on top of it, you're going to have your fantastic cosplayers that come out, and considering what they have done so well in this first, recap season or reboot season with Shudigatwa and, with Millie Gibson, they've got a lot of potential. I've said it before when we did our recap before of the last season, that I think that it was a misstep using 3 of the episodes for David Tennant. They should have been kept separate so we could have got a little bit more out of Shudigatwa. So I'm interested to see where they go with this. I will still soapbox the fact that BBC needs to get their head out of their tuchus, and they need to make more episodes of Doctor Who instead of dangling the pocket watch in front of us the entire time. Having that said, I have no qualms with the Doctor right now. I don't see there being an issue with it in the future. I know I've seen some articles that say, oh, showrunner says that it's going to be this, that, and the other thing. Well, why the hell are you having a panel at Hall H?
Well, that's the whole thing. That I think that they don't want to tip off their hat too much about everything going on, which I can understand.
Mm-hmm.
Like I say, I'm not going to fault them one bit for this. I think this is just a celebration. Like, you'll see a lot of shows that are going to come there, and they're really going to want to give back to the fans.
Mm-hmm.
They want to have that interaction, and obviously having a new Doctor in the role, there's a buzz and excitement that comes with that. And I think to have that interaction is going to be very, very big. And I think that when you can do that, it's going to just elevate that fandom even more, that they're going to, that might cause them to do more shows. That might cause an effect.
I just want more Doctor Who. That's it. Plain and simple. Just give me more Doctor. Give me more Doctor on TV. I'm not taking anything away from the audiobooks, because God knows Paul McGann has kicked ass as the 8th Doctor in the audio series. And I know that Shudi's also doing a few audio series himself.
Mm-hmm.
Eccleston came back to do some audio because he says he won't do TV again for certain reasons. So I can't fault them for using what we have now in media to just bolster the franchise.
Mhm. Yeah, because when you can do that, that's when you can change everything.
Mm-hmm.
So we have to keep that in mind as we go. So next up on our list here, well, it's a universe that's near and dear to my heart, even though it's not exactly the dominant force in all of pop culture, but it is The Walking Dead. And they have 2 big panels coming out on this weekend at Hall H, and they're really going to be teaching a lot of, things that are you want to get involved with the universe in the spinoff stage. Like, it's kind of weird because, like I say, it's a little bittersweet for me. And it's one that you can go and relive the fandom that you had, because they have 2 spinoff shows that are still going, Dead City and Daryl Dixon, The Book of Carol, which is going to be the heavily emphasized one for this panel. So it's not going to be the days of old, but it's going to be the ones that really kind of bring back the old fans that have been watching since the show first ran. And everybody kind of forgets this all started as a comic.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah. Everybody thinks about it like, oh, it just happened on TV. No, the comics have been going for quite some time. And I mean, they finished a few years back, but the legacy still lives on in the show. So to see how this is all going to play out, this is going to be one that, like I say, the screen's up there, and I want to leave it up there for a sec too, because I want people to kind of just emphasize, like, we have the Book of Carol, The Walking Dead, the date that's coming out. Like, it is one that literally you have, the fact this is still going on is crazy. And I don't understand how, but it still does. So that being said, I want to really kind of remember that date, because we will be talking about that on some variation, maybe on TV Talk. We might have to do that.
I'm down. I mean,
down.
I'm not familiar with Walking Dead, but the fact that everything that's going on right now, that on Friday they're doing back-to-back Hall H's. They are taking over the big hall. I mean, can you believe it? I mean, Dead City season 2 is going to be coming up, and I know that Chris Hardwick, I think, is from the Nerdist, is going to be hosting that panel. Scott Gimble is going to be there. Lauren Cohen, Jeffrey Dean Morgan. I mean, it's just going to be back to back. And then following that up, obviously, Chris Hardwick's going to be staying on stage, talking about the Book of Carol. Like, it's Walking Dead. AMC is just pulling out all the stops just right there on Friday alone, right in the middle of the day.
Yeah. So, like I say, very good time if you're a Walking Dead fan to go check that out. And then on to the next one, which, I mean, this is one, as a comic fan, I'm excited to see, and we're finally going to get some confirmation.
We like confirmation.
A few things that have been kind of floating in the air that we haven't really heard a lot about, and that is Saturday, 12:30 p.m., Berserker, The Immortal Saga Unleashed at Hall H. So this is the book Keanu Reeves, yes, that Keanu Reeves, is a co-writer on with Matt Kent and Ron Garney. They wrapped up the first issue that kicked off on Kickstarter, did a record business. And the book, like I say, it is an intense read. It is not for the squeamish.
No.
I will tell you right now. But the story behind it is still spinning off in the different volumes. In fact, there's one that's dropping this week from Boom Studios with Jason Aaron writing, who also has a monster week with TMNT relaunch that's happening. So it's going to be a busy week at the comic shops, and perfect timing for it. But reading the press release from Boom Studios, The Immortal Saga Unleashed, Hall H. Since the record-breaking debut in 2021, Keanu Reeves' Berserker has been thrilling readers with a story of the half-mortal, half-god warrior as he battles through the ages, seeking answers to the mystery of his endless, blood-soaked existence and how to end it. Join the iconic Reeves, Matt Kent, Ron Garney, Matt Gagnon, Stephen Christie, and Keith Clayton as they discuss the journey so far and reveal brand new details on the future of the Immortal Saga across comics, a new novel, the upcoming Netflix live action film, and special surprises. So, yeah. Say no more. And in fact, the graphic that's up there, that was just up, that is going to be the ash can there with the original team working on it. So that's going to be something that they're going to only have in San Diego, I believe. So you definitely want to make sure you check that out. And if you haven't picked up the series, like I say, it's an intense read. It is not one for the squeamish. The fact they're going to do live action for this, I'm excited to see how they're going to pull this off. And then we literally go, hey, Janelle is right. But Berserker is amazing. It is one that is going to captivate you. And to see the spinoffs have not missed either. Like I say, it's just a different interpretation of B and his story and just the wild, strange trip it is. But to see it coming to Netflix is going to be big. I don't know if they're still doing the anime. I was hearing, I knew that was mentioned way back when, but I know we're going to hear a lot more about this at the panel now. So I am excited about that.
Ken, are you excited?
Yeah.
Are you going berserk about it?
I'm trying to contain it because I got 2 more panels to talk about. Next up, though, is one that we've been waiting for. I know our guy in the chair has been waiting for, and that is coming to us from HBO and Warner Brothers, and that is the Penguin panel. So this one, obviously spinning out of Matt Reeves, I guess we could say iconic Batman film now, is going to be one that picks up the story of one
modern classic. I would call it modern classic.
That's fair. I can go with that as well too. So that is one that I know you got a little information pulled up for.
So the HBO limited series from Warner Brothers Television and DC Studios continues Matt Reeves' the Batman epic crime saga and centers around the character played by Colin Farrell in this film. Shout out also to the makeup artist because you didn't think that was Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
The series debuts on Max in September. Panels includes Colin Farrell, virtually Oz Cobb, aka the Penguin, Kristen Milotti, who plays Sophia Falcone, Renzi Velez, who plays Victor Aguilar, Matt Reeves, Lauren LaFranc, and Dylan Clark, all in attendance. Like, this is just going to be an amazing continuation of the fantastic movie. And to see that, you know, Warner Brothers and Max is finally getting their stuff together when it comes to any of their DC franchises and continuing in some sort. Again, my opinions do not matter with the whole nerd initiative. I'm just saying that as myself. Good on them.
I'm excited for this and to see that we're going to hear more about this universe. And obviously, Colin Farrell's portrayal as Penguin was on point. I'm excited to see if they do this. Maybe they'll kind of borrow a little bit from the Tom King series that just came out. So very excited to see more about this show. And obviously, DC has a big weekend as well, too. One of their huge panels that I can't skip without saying is about Absolute Power, which is taking place on Thursday, 12:45 in the morning, or 12:45 in the afternoon. It's gonna be 12:45 in me in the morning too, because I go West Coast time. But that is gonna be one that, I mean, coinciding everything that's happening in DC right now. They have so much going on, it can't miss. And obviously, everybody is really stacking the deck too, which I think you need to, because the last panel we're gonna be talking about is, I think, arguably the panel of the weekend.
Yes.
I don't think anybody can dispute it, even though there's so much good content around the entire board.
No.
And that is Marvel Studios is back at Hall H.
About freaking time.
Chat, super chat, let us know, how excited are you for this? Because I know I am, and I know that you are ready to talk about this a little bit, Tom.
I mean, there is so much stuff just from Marvel Studios to begin with. I mean, they've got a panel on Thursday talking about past, present, and future from Abrams. And then there's all the other stuff, you know, Marvel Fanfare. I know they're doing also a Marvel Snap, the digital game that's going on now, where they're going to be going on about the story and the background behind that. And then Marvel Studios Saturday at 6 p.m. is going to be ginormous. This is all I got. The president and producer, Kevin Feige, and special guests, we don't know who, provide an inside look at the ever expanding Marvel Cinematic Universe. That is literally the tip of the iceberg, ladies and gentlemen, with everything that's going on in the MCU, and especially that they're having San Diego Comic-Con drop the same exact week the Wolverine and Deadpool are coming out. It is a Marvel fanfare this weekend. We are going to find out more, hopefully find out more about Secret Wars, about Kang Dynasty, about everything that's coming out in all the other phases, whether it's the small screen, the big screen, the animated screen, the computer screen, the digital screen. Who cares? Just give me more. Just give me all of it.
Well, let's kind of throw this to the chat. What do you want to see announced
Mephisto
at Hall H? I will say this. I think, wishful thinking, we might see the cast of the Fantastic Four come out to talk to everybody.
Hi, Papi.
I think that would be a really cool moment to see everybody on stage for the first time at San Diego.
That's a good one. I like that. I mean, we all know I don't care about the rest of the Fantastic Four except for who they cast for the ever-loving blue-eyed thing, the kid from Yancey Street. So if the Mandalorian dude shows up, awesome, but I'm just all about, you know, Ebon right there.
Well, I think that you'll see them show up and maybe give a statement, maybe tease a little bit about what their movie is about, because I know it's widely speculated now about how they're going to fit into the big scheme of the MCU.
Speaking of MCU, did you notice in the final trailer? And I'm going to spoil this right here. In the final trailer for Deadpool and Wolverine, you actually saw the Fantastic Car like for half a second.
I wouldn't doubt it. I've been ducking spoilers about it, but at this stage, like nothing's going to faze me about it because it's literally the end all be all for the Fox universe to the MCU.
You literally had to pause it 1 second. I was watching another channel break it down. I was like, oh, it's in there, and it's a millisecond of it. It was like, it is the Fantastic Car.
Oh,
with a Hemi.
I want to see if the Thanos copter will be there.
There's a weird. We're going to talk about this off the air.
But I think, but in all honesty, I think we're going to see a little bit about Fantastic Four, maybe just like a snippet or something, or just maybe them come out in costume. That'd be kind of cool. But I also think that we're going to hear about the Blade movie. We're going to get an update one way or another about it. I don't think they can avoid saying that. We will see the new timeline. This could be, as it's been very talked about, involving the Russo brothers.
Yeah, like let's get a definitive answer. If not at San Diego, definitely by New York, or even at New York.
Well, I think they're gonna unload the arsenal at San Diego because I think that they're gonna really want to make it the mic drop moment that nobody's gonna be able to come near.
So they're gonna put in maximum effort.
Well, I think what they're gonna do is you're gonna hear that. I think the other movies that have been speculated that have been filming, Thunderbolts, we might see something for. I think that we will get maybe a Nova graphic since that was leaked out by Kevin Feige himself.
Yep.
So I think we'll see that. I think that we'll get an announcement pending on what happens with Deadpool and Wolverine. We will get an X-Men announcement of some sort.
Do you think we're going to get a teaser of Big Red?
Possibly.
I would love to just finally see the look of what, Red Hulk's going to be.
I think we'll get some Captain America stuff there too. For Brave New World. We'll get that, but I think what the emphasis is going to be, and especially if you heard what I was saying about the X-Men panel, I think we're going to have a big X-Men push this weekend. And I'm not going to say officially, but if I had to do we'll do locks and leaps like we do on the ODPH, I think the lock is a Blade update and a Fantastic Four cast appearance. Not saying costume, but I wouldn't doubt it either. The leap is we get the announcement of either the lineup of the X-Men or who is taking over as Wolverine after Hugh Jackman.
That's a big leap. That is a ginormous leap.
I like to roll the dice. So I'm going to say that. I think that we'll get the announcement. Maybe the actor who is playing him will come out on stage because nobody would see it coming.
All right, Fancast, who you got? Chat, who do you got?
I see. That's the thing. I don't know. I would say I'm blanking on her name. Who plays Laura Kinney?
That would be, and I just looked her up last night when I was showing her. Daphne Keane.
Thank you.
Yep, she died in The Acolyte.
Yeah, I would say possibly her. I would say if they're going to have it just be another James Howlett, I wouldn't doubt Daniel Radcliffe.
I could see it. He could definitely get in shape for it.
Yeah.
I think Marvel would be better off going with an unknown.
Well, I mean, they did it last time. So, I mean, it could pay off. I mean, that's the whole thing. It could go a lot of different ways about that. I think it's a leap, but, like I say, they're going to, and I like how Megan put it in the chat too about D23. They are going to hold off some stuff for that. But I think you might have that leap happen here, or you're going to see the graphic for it maybe, or you'll get something mutant-wise.
You know what I would like also to be revealed? What is going on, since we're talking mutants, what's going on with Photon right now over in her universe with Kelsey Grammer Beast?
Wouldn't doubt that update. Well, I think it's going to coincide. I think we're going to have a lot of mutant talk at the chat. I see Henry Cavill for Wolverine. Brad, I wouldn't argue that. I would not argue that one bit.
I could see Cavill as Cyclops.
I could see him being Cyclops too.
Because he can play the Boy Scout. We obviously know that. And we also can know that he can, do the whole stick up his...
Well, like I say, we could have that, or we also could, get the announcement of who Professor X and Magneto are going to be. Like I say, there's a lot of different ones. I think the Wolverine one would make sense, though, because if they want to capitalize on the Deadpool Wolverine hype that's happening this week, this is a perfect time to do something mutant. And I think Wolverine would be the perfect choice for it, just to have it like when Mahershala Ali walked out and put on the Blade hat.
Oh, my God, yeah.
I think if they do that kind of moment, with whoever's going to be announced for Wolverine, I think that that's going to be the huge like end all be all. And I mean, if we're going to talk Leap, I mean, we might hear about what is going to be involving with Kang the Conqueror.
They got to go sensitively on this one, obviously,
Yes.
considering the whole situation. Are they going to completely pivot the idea of the Kang Dynasty? Are they going to embrace it and use a completely separate actor and still say that they are Kang? I mean, we have seen recasting before in the MCU, so I don't know. But that's another big leap too. But I think if we're gonna do so much at San Diego, we got to hold something for D23, and we definitely would need to hold off something for New York. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if they hold off Kang till New York.
Well, here's the thing. I think they're going to pivot regardless. I think the fact that if the Russo brothers are coming back, it's Jonathan Hickman's Secret Wars. Like, that's the movie.
Yeah.
End of story. So I think they'll just kind of explain like what's going on there, or they might recast and you know, like they're going to handle it very sensitively, obviously, but they're going to take care of that situation because I know that that's one of the big,
I just want the
speculations
Secret Wars
we're gonna have
Spider-Man
there.
suit. I just want the black suit.
Well, no, see, that's not the one that comes in. That's a different Secret Wars.
Sorry.
Yeah, sorry. That's not this one. They're going to do Hickman's Secret Wars, which will make a lot more sense with the current state of the MCU. But that's the whole thing. Like,
could we get a Spider-Man thing? I mean, we're still on for 3 more movies.
I wouldn't doubt it.
That's a leap.
They might announce that as well too. But like our guy in the chair says, MCU usually doesn't do much for NYCC, unfortunately, and that's true. I think if anything, we'll get for this is long shot for NYCC.
Oh, long shot, 4 fingers.
Yeah, I can't remember if he has that or not.
He does.
I think we'll get a Disney Plus show, like panel at New York, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think but I agree with Rich. I think that's about as far as they go.
Okay.
I think there's a lot of different ways they can go, but I think at the end of the day, whatever they want to do, they're going to make sure that it is what shuts down San Diego. And everybody is going to crash Twitter, X, Threads, whatever the case is. They're going to want to make sure that it is mic dropped. And basically, and I feel bad for Kevin Smith, who's coming on after that. Like, how do you compete with that? Because I think they're going to completely unload the arsenal.
All you're going to hear is Kevin Smith going, "What a time to be alive! What a time to be alive!"
It's true.
You know, I once wrote Daredevil. What a time to be alive!
Yeah, I mean, that's another one we might hear some more about.
Yeah, absolutely. The new the return to Disney Plus with Daredevil. That's another one.
Yeah.
There's so much. They have so much potential to just break the internet.
Mm-hmm. Oh, completely. And I do agree with Rich in the chair. He'll be
sorry, DC.
Yeah. Well, DC is going to have their day next year. Like, next year is going to be the year of DC films, because what James Gunn has lined up for Superman, every casting has been on point, and I have big faith in him about getting this right, and I don't think he's going to misstep. But this year is going to be Marvel, and I think that they know that that's coming too. So I think they want to line up everything perfectly, so they can just have everybody talking about Marvel going through the weekend. And that's the goal every year, because you want to leave that con on the minds of everybody who is in attendance and everybody who's watching at home.
Yes.
If you don't do that, you know, you kind of fail in that moment. And I think Marvel realizes that. I think Kevin Feige knows he's got to deliver, and he always does. But this is going to be a situation, he's going to have everything lined up, and everybody is going to be glued to their smartphones, their computers, however you're getting information. Because when this panel comes out, everybody is going to be talking about it.
Yes, it will.
I mean, that said, I mean, there's so much more we can get into about San Diego Comic-Con, but we'll just say comic-con.org for more information. And obviously, stay tuned to Nerd Initiative and all our respective members' social media throughout the weekend. Everybody's going to be updating. Everybody's going to be talking about it. And then our news team is going to be taking it over the following week, giving you a lot to talk about, especially on YouTube. As you see, the QR code is up there. So you got to make sure you subscribe. You got to make sure you hit that bell notification and tap the thumbs up. You really don't want to miss what they have coming next week.
No, not at all. And again, folks, this is just tip of the iceberg stuff that we've talked about. We haven't even talked about, you know, all the other different panels and all the other different medias, the anime. I mean, let's be honest, a few years ago, New York was taken over by the animes when the big two didn't want to show up. Let's be honest.
Well, everybody's doing what they did DC did fandom.
Right.
Fandom.
Yeah, exactly. So now that anime is so prevalent, there's tons of stuff coming out from the anime world. Also, Dungeons and Dragons is celebrating its 50th anniversary in San Diego this year. So D&D, Wizards of the Coast, Hasbro, whoever the heck's owning it and running it right now, they've got stuff coming out. Paizo has stuff with Pathfinder, all the collectibles, all the figures, there's so much, and we barely have scratched the surface.
Oh, exactly. Like I say, we just gave our picks of what to go hit, but seriously, that's why I say go to the website, go check the panel list out, especially if you're going, go take a run and get involved and get as much content as you can.
Wear good shoes,
because this is going to be the place everybody's going to be talking about. This is going to be just a nonstop barrage of news and excitement and celebration. And I think in this day and age, the more we get of that, the better.
What a time to be alive.
Indeed, indeed. So that being said, we don't have our comic picks this week because we knew we were going to go overtime. So I'm just going to say nerdinitiative.com starting at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles by IDW, who's going to be having a big presence at San Diego as well.
Yep, 40-year anniversary panel.
Yep, kicks everything off at 9 a.m., followed by Supermassive, followed by Hello Darkness from Boom Studios, and Minor Threats, The Fastest Way Down. I'm giving you the kickoff books, and that's just the 4 to start with, not the other 20 plus we have dropping.
That's a lot.
We have a lot, but nobody does New Comic Book Day like the Nerd Initiative Bullpen. Nobody. So that being said, Tom, let everybody know what's going on with you and Off the Cuff.
You can find me here every single Tuesday night right here on Turn a Page, but I also start off the wonderful week here on Nerd Initiative at 8 p.m. on Monday nights, Eastern Standard Time for TV Talk. We're going to be changing it up. I'm going to be doing a big old blog and talking about the rest of the Bear online because you know what? I didn't realize Umbrella Academy is upon us. So I'm going to do over the next 2 weeks some recaps on Umbrella Academy coming up to when Umbrella Academy comes back. So this is the big announcement for everybody. Also, we are 1 month away from Power Morphicon, so keep an eye on my socials. I'm going to be doing almost announcements every single day, talking about some of the casts that are coming, some of the people that I can't wait to meet and interview for Power Morphicon in less than a month. There is so much stuff going on here at Nerd Initiative besides, me doing on Mondays and then, working with Ken and Rich, the guy in the chair, on Tuesdays. Wednesdays with a phenomenal bullpen crew. What else we got going?
We have a giveaway we got to talk about, too.
We do have that giveaway.
So last week, you heard the announcement that we were doing a giveaway because we want to get more readers into the Massiverse, comics' most exciting line. And we said you just had to go over to the Instagram page and find the post. Go comment who your favorite character was and name 2 or more friends to go follow the page as well. We have the winners announced. So, Rich, take it away. So, Thorstorian, Black Scale Motif, Donnie Love, and Spoon Wanderer. Hit us up on the DMs on Instagram since now you're following us. Let me know what information we need to do to get you that copy. You have won 1 copy of Across the Massiverse Volume 1 from Image Comics and Black Market Narrative. Welcome to the Massiverse. And if you think this giveaway is something, just wait because we have more stuff coming. So stay tuned. ... So as for me, odphpodcast.com, if you're new to Nerd Initiative, and thank you for dropping that subscribe button, we love QR codes here. So make sure to click on that code, drop it in your follows, drop it, wherever you do in the RSS feeds. Everything helps and everything really pushes for the algorithm. We got a new episode dropping, new Patreon episode just came out today, and reviews, and more reviews. Oh my. But speaking of reviews, it all kicks off with Nerd Initiative, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on Wednesday. So the bullpen, like I can't illustrate enough, like the hardest working team in all of comic reviews is doing it yet again. Big day tomorrow. I'll have a lot of people already asking when stuff is dropping. So you're doing something right when the fans are checking in about that.
There's so much I don't even know when mine's dropping.
It's very, very true.
It's a tizzy.
And speaking of dropping, you have a brand new episode of Wrestling Night Live dropping tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Nerd Initiative YouTube on a special night because, well, we're going to see Deadpool and Wolverine. So that is why it's coming on a special night to peek behind the curtain. But Rich, new guy Nick, and yours truly are going to be taking down the latest and greatest in WWE, AEW, GCW, New Japan Pro Wrestling, and so much more. That's what we do each and every week, calling it right down the middle like nobody else. Trust us, we know. So that being said, if you also want to find out what our guy in the chair is doing, 3fnpodcast.com, new episode dropped. They're talking about Twisters. It's a great episode. So if you want an adult humored movie podcast. It really calls it like they see it. This is the one to follow for you. So make sure to drop that subscribe button, give them a nice boost on the algorithm with a review. And last but certainly not least, go to the home of pop culture positivity, nerdinitiative.com. Fandoms are dropping left and right. Plus, that news team is going to be launching next week. Shout out to Derek, Mickey, and Megan. They got big stuff lined up, and we are just kicking off the second half of 2024 like nobody else. So you want to make sure you're subscribed up to everything we're doing. You don't miss anything. If you want to get some swag to represent the brand out in public, well, we have merchandise too, because I got the message from our boss, Michael, that we need to promote that. So that being said, if you need to get a thermos, you need to get a hat, you need to get a hoodie, you need to get a shirt, you need to get any kind of gear possible, make sure to go to the Nerd Initiative store, go get some stuff, and make sure to wear it out and let everybody know that you enjoy the content from the home of pop culture positivity.
Wear your nerd on your sleeve.
Mm-hmm. So that being said, when you're at the comic shops and you have great issues in your hands that you find every Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time on nerdinitiative.com.
I like what you did there.
And you see somebody struggling to find something, hand yours off to them. Tell them to turn the page. See you next week. Enjoy San Diego.
I'm out.